So I'll just go back again very quickly. We're going to look at the year 1964 in my case, or 1996 in this other person's case, and we need to add up all the numbers to get a total. And once we've added them up, then once we've got our total, we have to have them to a single digit. So either 2 in my case or 7 for 1996. So yeah, if everybody has got it, then make sure you've got a number. So yeah, that's absolutely right, Terry. That makes a 1. Anybody got any questions? Just stick them in the chat quickly, or if you just want to confirm that's your number. So when we're working with colour personalities, we take each number and then we add them up together to create our whole personality. So I'm a 432, which makes me a 9, okay, in total overall. Colour personalities are just our core selves, who we really are, what frequency we're vibrating at. When we look at the year, or when we look at the day, we're looking at our inner child. When we look at the month, we're looking at our skills and talents. And when we're looking at the year, we're looking at our aspirations, what we're aspiring to, what we came here for, maybe also what we came here to learn, what to experience. And every number then relates to the colours. So I'm just going to relate that to the colours. And I would actually say, because everybody asks, well, all the people coming on that year, are they coming to learn the same thing? Collectively, yes, Helen, that's grateful. Collectively, we are all coming to learn. So everybody that came in 1964 is coming to learn the number 2, and in my case, the colour orange. But we're learning it in all different ways. So we're getting to experience it in lots of different ways. So, and by the experiences that we're having on our journey. So when you've got the why am I here and what is my purpose, then you can start relating that colour. So we're going to take the first one, which is the colour number 1, which is red. Okay, so if you're aspiring red, what did you come here to learn? What is the purpose of learning the qualities of this colour? Well, for me, or for knowing about this colour, I've just done a very interesting course, and some of you may have read some of his books. His name's William Whitecloud, and he wrote The Last Shaman and The Magician's Way and Natural Success. So Secrets of Natural Success. And he uses the Enneagram a lot. And when I do readings, full readings, I use the Enneagram in a circle. And the Enneagram goes from number 1 to number 9, interestingly enough. And it asks you lots of questions about your personality. And I relate those to the colours and use the Enneagram. And so if you decide that you'd like a full reading, which normally takes about an hour, and we go through your chart and that of your family maybe, or people that you want to look at, then the Enneagram shows you the numbers. So you can also relate this to the Enneagram, because I was quite shocked that I was going to be, that he was using the Enneagram as well. So I learned a lot more about actually the numbers, but I didn't realize that the Enneagram had been around for 5,000 years and was held by the Sufis. And the Sufis protected the symbolism in the Enneagram. And therefore all the symbols that are in the Enneagram came from that Egyptian time, and the Sufis looked after them. So the colours relate really into that, because the Egyptians really were the first with the colours, or the first that we know in knowledge. If we take our spiritual journey, we could say that we've been here for billions of years, at Atlantis, and at different times, Lemuria, at different times we would have used colour. But in the history that we sort of have around us at the moment, whether true or false, shows that Egypt is really the first place where colour came along. So when you're relating the Enneagram to things, the colours fit with this. So when we look at number 1, red, you're here. What's your mission? You came with your personality colour, but your aspiration, your year is with red. So red is all about the doing, the being busy. It's base chakra. Everybody all right with chakras of the body? Give me a nod if you're okay. Yeah. So so it works with the base energy of our body. And so if you're an aspiring red, you're learning to do the do. You're learning to work out exactly how things should actually work. So if you're a red personality, you're standing on your own 2 feet. So it's you are actually, with the red, being able to become independent. So for me, when people are aspiring in years which are a red, they're about being able to stand on their own 2 feet, be independent, do the things that they need to do. And their purpose here in life is to show everybody else that they're willing to step forward. Red is all about courage. So if your aspiration colour is number 1, like yours, Terry, it's about being courageous, showing everybody that being courageous is something very positive. It's about being able to use that energy of the red to actually create what you want to in your life by achieving things and setting purpose. It's also in their purpose about passion and drive and movement forward. So when somebody, I always get, when I'm talking to people and they say, oh really, am I an aspiring red? I always find that colour quite strong. Well, yeah, it's about strength. So people coming in and having aspirations of red, is their purpose is to be courageous, to step forward, to not be around anything else, to be able to see where they need to be, to see where their passion and their drive is, to use their passion and their drive to take them forward. Is everybody okay with that? So Terry, sorry to pick on you, but yeah, I can see that you're a number 1. If that's your part, you know, that's where you can actually be stepping forward. So can red be bright pink? No, because we do have a magenta colour. So I would say red is red. It's solid. It's also grounded. So red, if your aspiration also is red, you may be extremely spiritual and you can be up in the loftier regions, but actually your feet are on the ground. So you're using your spirituality on a day-to-day basis. You may be teaching it. You may be playing it. You may in music. You may be all of those sort of things. So yeah, with the red, it's all about being grounded. So when it's why am I here and what's my purpose? For reds, it's to stand on your own 2 feet, to become truly self-aware, to be able to look at the shadow side of yourself and say, I'm truly aware of who I am. So I'm just going to, because we've got 9 and I don't want to keep you for hours, I'll do so red, all about standing on your own 2 feet. Have we got any 2s, people aspiring 2s? Well, I am. I'm an aspiring 2, which is orange. Okay, and orange in the year is all about letting go. It's about freedom. So it's about actually freeing yourself from the constraints of life here on planet Earth. It's about becoming more unconventional. I have to say, because I know about my colours, I become more and more orange every single day. All right, so I become more and more unconventional in terms of my life is not 9 to 5. I of course follow rules that are safe for me, but I don't follow rules that I don't need to follow. I have the freedom of not feeling that I have to do the complete 9 to 5. I definitely am not looking at retiring. It's a little bit like, so oranges are just about letting go, letting about all the conforming side. And it's actually the color of where we're learning about self-respect. So red is learning about self-awareness. Yellow is learning about, orange, sorry, is learning about self-respect. It's the sacral chakra. So it's all about music, dance, timing. I have to say I'm most probably a bit more of a risk taker in my later life than I was in my earlier. So I'm more willing to take risks now. I'm more willing to let go. I'm more willing to be free. And I'm definitely much more creative. And creative does not mean artistic. It means I create, I birth ideas. So why am I here and what is my purpose? For orange aspiration, it's to free myself from the constraints of life, to accept that being, not everything is driven by the same set of rules. It's also a very emotional color. So also for orange, it's about being emotional. For me, the red is quite masculine. It's about standing in your power. The orange is about actually allowing your sacral chakra, the energy of your sacral, the dance, the music, the emotion to come forward. So definitely things like yoga and dance has become more prominent in my life. Movement of that type of area of the body. Not the gym so much, which can sometimes be more red. So about that physical grounding. And also orange is about humor, to laugh at life a little bit. So it's about being able to laugh, create things, create ideas. And I suppose I could say that I've put that to good use because I've created a business about colour. So it's that sort of taking something out of the box that's not the same as everything else. And if I think of my friends that are all going to be the big 6-0 next year, then it's the fact that it's that freedom. We are definitely all, and I'm thinking of 4 or 5 of them not fitting into life's pattern. We've changed a lot on our journey, and we've had quite a lot of freedom as well. So orange is all about that. Any yellows that are there? This is 3 for the yellow. Okay, so yellow is the number 3. And so when we talk about why am I here, what is my purpose, if you're aspiring yellow, it's all about using your mind, using your brain, using your analytical powers, and also to shine the light. So aspiring yellows are here about self-esteem. It's the solar plexus area. So yellow affects that whole solar plexus area. And it's where you shine your light from, your gut feel. I think aspiring yellows is they become more confident as they get older. For me, aspiring yellows get younger as they get older. There's more child ability in them because they can actually touch into this. This is the color of the child. So they can touch into that child side, the play, the fun. So with aspiring yellows, they're here to actually raise their self-esteem. and raise the self-esteem of others around them. And their purpose is also to communicate things that are fun. You know, they're also to communicate the element which is the fun and the creative side of life as well, the child side. To see, I mean, I think sometimes we're so serious in our world, you know, every day we have to make money to pay taxes, you know, we're in a system. And this is our chance to actually, with the yellow, be with the children, have that childlike opportunity to see the importance that when we were kids, where everything wasn't so serious, that we have ability to have life. So where the oranges do humour, the yellows just shine the light on things and create that child element of things. I found a lot of authors that write children's book are aspiring yellows. It's their year that they aspire to. So it's all about that aspiration of self-esteem, shining their light, telling stories, networking, being able to have the confidence to go with other people. But a very powerful way. Also, I find that aspiring yellows are they learn all their life. They read books, they take on information. It's a continual learning curve for aspiring yellows. So it's putting things together that they are learning. So their reason for being here is to pass information. Sometimes the scholars, the professors, the people that find something in later life that they have to bring out to the public. But it's all about self-esteem and to shine the light on things. We're all light workers, but we're just doing them in different ways. And the energy of the yellow is all about that focus on the purpose of actually laughing a little bit at life, but also seeing it from a child's perspective and not always too serious. Everybody all right so far? Yeah? Sorry, yes, light shining in everywhere for the sunshine. So now 4. So we've got a couple of 4s in here. So we're coming into the green. So that's you, Helen, as well, with your aspiration green. So greens are all about heart. So it's heart energy. So I have to always say to greens, if your aspiration color is green, it's about self-love. Learning how to love yourself. How to step into the energy of the green, of the heart energy, and share that community and love. It's not just having the one big relationship and showing and sparing all that love on the one relationship. It's about actually love as a whole, but it's self-love. It's learning about how to love the self before anything else. And, you know, for me, green, when it's in the aspiration, is also being with nature. So I find that as greens get older, they need to be in a much more natural environment than maybe in their 20s and 30s where they were in the city working. They need that green to breathe because it's a de-stress. So they're here to learn how to love themselves, to actually feel that they are the part of the universal energy, but how to actually, it's not necessarily even about putting themselves first, but it's about loving themselves, really falling in love with who they really are and getting to know who they really are. And the purpose also is to be outside. What they're sharing with others is community, is sharing, is being able to come together as teams and work together as teams. And the older I feel greens get, the more that becomes part of it. So that the aspiration is I actually don't want to just follow my own journey. I want to be part of a team. I don't want to be on my own. I want that part of the team. So that green and self-love is really, really, really important. And also for greens, it's also about being able to breathe, to really understand breath and oxygen and taking time out. So that absolutely comes from that self-love perspective, being able to oxygenate yourself, stopping a little bit. So I find quite a lot of people with green aspirations, if their life is really busy, they may be given little things to slow down so that they're actually able to stop and actually breathe and take in the view of life. And definitely around nature. In nature and nurture, really, for the aspiring greens. The aspiration blue, I'm going to use the turquoise because I realise the blue one's behind me because we're in a blue month this month in July. Blue is all about why they're here. So I don't know if anybody's a blue. I'm a blue, Chrissy, okay, is to speak your truth. Okay, so blues are here because it's about the throat chakra. And they're learning to speak their truth. To actually speak their truth with kindness and gentility and empathy and compassion, but to actually be able to say it, say what they're feeling. And it's therefore the colour of communication, therefore the colour of feeling comfortable. So I know lots of blues will say, or with a blue personality will say, I just come out and say it, I can't help it. It's because it usually is the truth. But when you're aspiring it, you're learning how to actually put that forward. It's also the colour of the healer. So when you've got blue for the colour of the healer, then it's automatically understanding the energies and the healing energies. So it fits with self-expression. So you're learning that expression of self, the healing that comes with the energy. And because it's a cooler colour, it's about actually being able to observe and stand back a little and using that cooler colour to actually stand back. And then also with blue, as I say, it's truth, but it's also integrity, things being the right way. And so the purpose and is to just learn how to express, how to communicate, how to be able to actually say what you're feeling. I think for most of us women, that's what we're learning anyway. But for the blues, it's more specific. I think, you know, quite a lot of us don't necessarily express, but with the blue it is the ability to use that. And that's why I say it's a great colour just to even use and wear. So this month as well, because we're in July, you might find you're expressing a bit more than you have been before. So not hopefully too many arguments, but it's that energy of blue. But that aspiration blue is to, so yeah, Terry, blue is 5. Sorry, so we're at number 5 for blue. Sorry, I should have given you the numbers as well. So 4 green, 3 yellow, 2 orange, 1 red. So number 5 for the blue. And then we come to the number 6, which is the darker blue, the indigo. So Julie, you had yours down for this number 6. And this is the sort of darker blue, and you, Christine, lovely. So the 6, if you're an aspiring 6, well, you're turning into a witch this journey. No, not really. But it is the witchy poo-poo colour. For me, it's the wizard and the witch. So actually what it's doing is opening up your third eye. So it's dealing with the third eye, the number 6. It's all about actually accessing third eye information, the brow chakra. So it's about using your intuition. So where blues are expressing, indigos, the number 6, are using their intuition at a much higher level. They've come in here to find that. And this is the colour of the law and justice. So number 6s are also putting structure in their life. It's the opposite to the orange, and I'll come back to that as a final part. But it's about putting structures in that make you feel safe. It may also be about facing any fears. This is the old soul colour. So it's about maybe fears of journeys that you've taken before that have got things on that you need to clear. It's also about self-responsibility. So that means in the sense of looking at the midnight colour, the darker, the more shadow side of people. So you might find yourself becoming a counsellor as a number 6, aspiring 6, because you might want to dig deeper in for people. So it's digging into that deeper side of light and dealing with self-responsibility. So as I say, the counsellor, the psychic, the intuition, the using all that element that we have within us to act, to feel self-responsible on our journey. And it's also becoming the expert. So aspiring indigos tend to become experts in their field. They want to dig deep and know everything about the subject. So you may be an indigo personality and want that, but actually if you're aspiring it, you also want that. And actually being very interested in the esoteric of life, the crystals, the essential oils, all of those things may become even more important to you because you're reconnecting to the third eye and the intuition. And why you're here is, well, maybe you are to be the reader for people, or maybe you are to be that person that is able to focus as an expert and teach. So for me, the indigos make fantastic teachers, aspiring indigos, because they naturally want to use their intuition to teach. We can all teach, but in different ways. A red may want to teach things that are more valuable about standing on your own 2 feet, the doing. The orange about creativity, things that are not so much in the everyday. The yellow's great teachers. We've got yellow aspiring, really good at passing on information because it's about the child, it's about the learning. And then the greens, the heart, putting their heart and soul into things. So the indigo, if you're aspiring, is, yeah, becoming the witchy poo-poo. So in other words, bringing your broomstick to the back door and using it at night. So so that's for the 6s. And then the 7s, the purple, the violet. Okay, so 7 is the violet colour or the purple colour. So this is crown energy. So when you're an aspiring 7, it's about compassion, empathy. And actually I want to say this, it's compassion and empathy for yourself first. Then it's compassion and empathy for other people. So it's really important that 7s or aspiring 7s know that they're learning about compassion. They're learning about their own place within that. And therefore, because the violet, it can be gentle, it is actually self-knowledge, learning all about themselves from a very loftier side type of perspective. It's the colour purely of empathy and compassion. And what it does is it mixes the left and right hand side brain together. So the purpose of aspiring purples is again in the counselling, but in a different way, I feel, to the indigos. The indigos are about the self-responsibility. So maybe the indigos will deal with the addictions. Maybe the indigos will deal with that more psychic and intuitive element, and the violets deal with the healing from they could be healers, fantastic healers in any shape or form, but also they could be counselors where they're able to deal with very difficult situations. So maybe trauma. Addiction is trauma, but you may be looking to heal in a slightly different way. So it may be childhood trauma. And being an aspiring violet will allow you to be compassionate and empathetic. And what I feel is when you're an aspiring indigo, there are things that are a bit black and white. This is right or this is wrong. In an aspiring violet, it's about the balance. It's all grey. Because it is also reconnection to source. So you may go through your whole life being an aspiring violet and then get to a later in life and go, oh, is there something bigger than us here? You know, you focused on lots of other things, and the aspiring violet will suddenly go, oh, is there anything in faith? What, have I seen angels? So you may have an epiphany at some particular point. And this colour for me, again, the indigo is very strong. And its element is quite masculine. So when you're doing psychic readings, when you're using your intuition, you may be a feminine person, but you get quite a lot of masculine energy. In the violet, you get a lot more of the feminine energy. So a lot of aspiring violets may become more gentler as they get older. And I find that a bit hard when I'm doing readings for guys. I go, you're aspiring violets. It may be that you become more gentler as you get older, but you can see it in them as an aspiration in their year. It brings a softer, much more feminine quality. And I think for guys, their purpose is to learn their feminine side. When they're aspiring violets, they're actually learning, whereas if they're in their aspiring indigo, it's about their intuition. This is about compassion and empathy. And then we go up to the number 8, the magenta. So Emma, you said, can it be bright pink? Well, it's a bit, sorry, the light is a bit. And actually it's magenta. So this is much more pink. I'm not, let's see if I can show that a little bit more. So yeah, so the pink here is in the magenta. So yeah, so if you're an aspiring 8, I always say that, why are you here and what's your purpose? You dropped your spaceship on the wrong planet. And now your purpose is to find it and go back again. And that's, I'm joking, but maybe not joking so much. For me, aspiring magentas are all about transformation. So it's about self-transformation. They are constantly going through change. So they will go through all their life and they'll get to about 80 and then go, I really want to go and do something different. And everybody around will go, oh, not again. You know, because it's constant transformation. And that's why I always say 8s, magentas, are looking for their spaceship. We're all star seeds in my view, but they're the star seeds that have been traveling a lot more in the universal energy than a lot of the other colors. So when you're aspiring 8, you are wanting to continue to transform and not to stop. I always think of Madonna, because she goes through so many now she doesn't even look like anybody that I recognize, but she, you know, she's got magenta. It's that transformation of self. And so magentas, their purpose is that they are not really from here. They've been in the universal energy, and so they bring more information. And when you're aspiring towards it, it's self-transformation, constantly wanting to change and knowing that change is okay. Because I think sometimes we're told that transforming is not okay. Change is not okay. We need to stay the same. Oh no, we're here to learn. It's a learning planet. We need to learn, we need to experience. And so magentas bring that self-transformation, and they continue to do it. So people like the types of Vivienne Westwood and people like that, where they are constantly bringing shock and transformation into the fashion world. So that aspiring 8 is always there. So it's really interesting to see the magentas aspiring, because it means that they are constantly going to go through change. And they're constantly transforming, so you can't fix them to anything. So also, because it's red and blue, they are constantly negotiating. So that, oh, shall I, shan't I? Shall I, shan't I? Shall I, shan't I? Oh yes, maybe I will. Off I go. Oh no, I'm going to change it again. Oh, that's nice over there. I'm just going to go and have a look there. Don't want to live in England. Let's go to France. No, let's go off to Germany. So it's that constant change cycle. And the purpose is that we change all the time. So it's being comfortable with that change as well. So definitely the 8 is always around that change. And then I'm just going to tip it round a bit because it's going to try and get a bit more of the light colour. Is the 9, right up in the ether. So that's you, Diane, I think, as well. And they're aspiring 9s. So when you're aspiring as a gold, it's all about right up in the stellar gateway. And what I say to aspiring golds is you're completing your cycle. So the journey that you have been on for X amount of time, and we don't know what that is, and we don't know everything about the journey, but this journey, you're actually ending it. You're ending and completing a cycle. So you may not be due back to planet Earth for the next set. You could be doing something else. Or if you do come back in, you're not coming back in the energy that you are now learning. You've finished that cycle, you've completed. So you are learning, you could say you're learning about unconditional love, but it's unconditional love for yourself. It's recognizing that you're at the end point of what you've been learning, and your soul is dealing with the unconditional love. Now, I could be really wrong about it. I just feel it. The amount of people that I've done readings for in care homes that are aspiring 9s. So they are working with people that are leaving, and also is their part of their journey of going. And I think that's, you know, that's this real big part of gold, It's going back to source before you come out and do another set of things. But whatever's in that learning is at that completion element. And so it's definitely for me about the completion. They call it self-actualization. So you're actualizing yourself. You're recognizing what you are, what your role is, what part you may have played. And you may have to come back and do the whole damn lot again because you didn't get to there. But that's the beauty of the journey of life, you know. So and so it's yeah, important with the gold that's where you recognize that you're at the end. So it's such a powerful aspiration color, so that it's one that is right up in the stellar gateway. And you may be a personality gold or a child coming in with gold, but for me is, what am I here for, and my purpose? I've been here to be of service, and I'm now completing my cycle, and I'm going to be moving on to doing something else. So whatever the soul contract was to complete something, that is that part of the soul contract. Does that sort of make sense to anybody who's aspiring 9? Diane, yeah. So for it. And it doesn't mean it's over. It just means there is a completion element, that you've done what there needs to be. You've been here and done that part for service. So your next journey, your next cycle is going to be something completely different, with a complete set of circumstances. Now, I think just what's important to say is, if your aspirations are the same as your personality color, in other words, if you add up the whole of your date of birth and you make it a number 6, and you're aspiring 6, then it has a much more reflective on you, this journey. So if your aspiration is 1 and you are a 1, a red, then it has, you're really, really working with your own vibration this journey. You're finding out who you really are. When you're an aspiration 2 and a soul 2 or a personality 2, the connection is that maybe freedom and all of that aspect is such an important part of your vibration. That's your aspiration. The same as the yellow. If you're a soul or a personality yellow, in other words, it all adds up to yellow, and your aspiration is yellow, it's like a double dose. You are really learning about yourself while you're here. Does that make sense to everybody? A little bit. So if you're inner child, so it's the same for all. Green, if you're an aspiration green and your personality is green, then you're learning really about self-love, and everything that's happening to you on this journey is for you to actually go within your heart. If you're an aspiration blue and you're a blue personality, you really are being asked to speak express your truth, express and speak what you feel. And the same for the indigo. If you're an aspirating indigo and your personality is indigo, are you using your intuition to carry yourself through your journey? And the same with the violet. If you're violet soul and violet aspiration, are you aware of your compassion, and is it something that you are using and learning more of this journey? And the same with the magenta. When the magenta is there and you are a magenta, your spaceship's a long way off. So you've got double the amount to actually be going to find it. So it means that you are that transformative butterfly all the time, and you are going to continue doing that. And the same with the gold. If you're an aspiration gold, but you're a gold personality, you are completing, and this journey is about self-actualization, to be of service. If it's in your inner child, so for example, if we have somebody who has a red inner child and a red personality, so your first number is 1, and your personality number is your aspiration number, sorry, is 1. You are looking to heal your inner child. So if I meet people that have got their inner child is 1, red, and their aspiration is red, their whole journey is about healing and becoming independent and healing that inner child, because it's the same color. If the child is 2, the inner child is 2, and the aspiration is 2, you are healing that inner child from freedom. And I find that very interesting, because doing quite a lot of work with people from Eastern Europe, a lot of orange is in there. And that's all about freeing, which is maybe our latest historic freedom area. So it's freeing yourself from what went on as a younger child. If you're yellow as a younger child and your aspiration is yellow, well, for me, it is because the child at school is very bright. I always said yellow children are bright. And if your aspiration is bright, you are spending your journey remembering that you are bright and using your intellectual prowess, using your mind to take you forward on your journey. If you're green as a child and green aspirations, you're healing about love as a child. So maybe the upbringing was quite tough from a love perspective, and you're learning in your aspirations what it feels like to love yourself. And then the same with the blue. The blue is what you're speaking. If you couldn't speak as a child of blue and very quiet, and your aspirations are blue, then you're learning to express yourself. And then the same for the indigo. Well, indigo children, especially in the 70s, 80s and 90s, and still now, they come in with a sense of a different energy. They know a lot more about their psychic ability. So if their aspiration is that, then they're working on keeping that intuition. It may have been that their family didn't want them to have it, so it was put away. And so if they're aspiring it, it's really important. And then if it's in the violet, very sensitive, very gentle child, and learning the aspirations of it is learning that actually it's a very connected child, very spiritually connected, quite feminine, has that quality of compassion. And I'm going to say this, and I'm just do it loosely because I have been doing reading since 2000, so good over 23 years. I've done quite a lot of work with addicts, and there will be a lot of violet and orange in the addiction clinics, because violet says, I need to get off earth. I'm far too sensitive. It's so compassionate and sensitive. It's that right up in that spectrum. And then the orange says, I want to be free and I want to be a risk taker. So the combination, I'm not saying everybody who's got those colours is, please don't judge around that. I'm just saying, as a task that we did for 3 years, a lot of people had those aspects, and the people that looked after them had the yellow and the blue. So they weren't in their violets. They were able to analyze or take it out of the head and actually help them. And then we work with the police officers or the police department, and they're all indigo. So they're all blue and indigos and greens and yellows, because it's the logical side. It's the not one, and that's not all. Again, of course, there are difference. But for me, the indigo and violet are so close in line that's where the line sort of comes in. So again, if you've got a magenta child, inner child magenta and aspirations magenta, it's constant transforming. Its life wants to transform that inner child. And then the same with the gold. Gold as a child and gold in the aspirations is looking to heal that element of the inner child that is all about to be of service, is all about unconditional love. So it may be the child came, their soul contract was to come into a life where life was very difficult. And so their aspiration for gold is to actually understand what being of service actually is. And then if you've got your skills and your aspirations that are the same, then you've already got those skills. Oh yeah, Terry, your inner child is your day. So if you were born on the 4th, it's a 4. If you were born on the 12th, it's the 12, 1 + 2. If you've been born on, so you have to add those up together, and then each of the colours fit again. So, and your skills are your month. So if you were born in January, your skills are red because it's 1, and you know, you might have aspiration of red. So it means you've already got the abilities. But every challenge that comes your way is going to make you see the red part of yourself. Because it's your skills, it's your abilities. So if you've got red as your middle skills, you know, you're driven, you want to move forward, and then you've got aspiration of red, you might choose that you do it independently. It might be that you're not so much easier as a team player. You chose not to do it as a team this time. You've got to stand on your own 2 feet. If it's 2 lots of orange, you may be very, very creative and be able to birth new ideas. So if you were February and your aspirations are the same. For yellow, it's the same, the learning. Yellows are great project managers, really good in their skills. But in their aspirations, it's also about using the mind, using the knowledge. And then green, it's about doing things that come from the heart. So if you've got green skills and you're part of a community, then you're building that community in your aspirations. You're just getting a double dose. You've got it already, but you're being asked to really recognize it in your aspiration color. Blue, speaking your truth. Indigo, becoming of self-knowledge, looking at yourself deeply, or helping others to look at themselves deeply. Violet, to be compassion, so and empathy. Magenta, to transform. So you constantly transform in skills, and in your aspirations you're going to transform. So when people say, is my husband going to be different, and his skills are magenta and his aspirations are magenta, I have to say absolutely not, because he's going to be that constant transformer. So people like Alan Sugar and people in those sort of types of positions will continue to work in those type of positions. They need the difference, the change. And then in the gold, there's a double completion. If they've got gold skills and they've been of service, then they also are completing that element as well. Does that sort of make sense to you? So when you look at your colours, you now have got information that says, this is my personality colour, because I add up the whole of my date of birth together. And that's my vibrational frequency. It's what I'm vibrating at. I am that part of the rainbow. That's how I think of it. I'm that part of the rainbow of life. And then I have my journey colors, which are my day, my month, and my year. And they allow me to see what I'm doing on this journey and help me to bring things in. So I like having my aspiration colors around, because that's what I'm working towards. So there's loads of orange in my house. It's great. No, but you know, it's that sort of and everybody goes, "Oh, working on yourself now, Alison, are you?" when they come in, because it's orange. Or if it's all green, I'm learning to love yourself. So it's, you know, you use all of those. But if we have a soul contract, if we decide what we do, we don't know before we come here, then the colours show us a little bit about what we're doing and what we're aspiring to. So and so it's those journey colours that are really important. And I think in the aspirations as well, I mean, if you're in the collective consciousness, the aspiration of this year is violet. So if your life has been chaos this year, blame it on the violet, because it's chaotic. I love violet, but it's right up in the crown. It's a really, really fast colour. And so we go to magenta next year. So we've been in the chaos this year, and now we're going to transform everything next year. And then we can all take a nice big sigh, because in 2025 we go to gold, and we go, oh, good, we've completed. I completed a set of things. And I must say that I've spent a little bit more time listening to more astrology and really noticing how the colours link with your astrological outlook as well. So we know we move into our true Aquarian natures next year. Uranus goes into Aquarius, so we're going to change. We're on this cusp of change. We're coming out of the water of Pisces, the age of water, and we're going into air. So AI, all those sort of things as well. But you know, we are moving away, and yeah, it's going to take 278 years to even get to the beginning of it, but we are making that step, so we can see all these shifts are happening and the colors around it. So I would just say, if you know a little bit about yours, it's a great way of saying to people, well, I'm this color, so the effect it has on me is this. But actually you can use it and then use the colors to help you balance, which I think is also, you know, really important. So if you would like a full reading, you just can get in touch with me, and I'm very happy to do it for £40 for any of you that have been on my webinars, to have a full colour reading if you want to go in depth. If anybody, this is my only bit of sales I do at the end of it, but if anybody wants any more info, the book has it all, and it has your day, month and year at the back. And if you would like anything, anybody from this webinar, there, I will send you the 2 books. I will send you the 2 books for £15. I've got one on colour, one on this, and without any postage. So you would just email me and I'll send you an invoice. But if you just want the in-depth colour, I will pay the postage, I will cover in it. But, you know, any training or anything that you'd like to know more about, I will be thinking, August, I'm not going to do a free seminar, a webinar, but I'm going to think of some things for September. So I might do things with the shadow. So a bit of we've had all the joyous things of the colours, how positive they are, which is really important. But we may need to be looking at the negatives sometimes as well, the shadow side of things, because for me, sovereignty is all about us recognizing our shadows. And as we're going through this huge change on the planet and we're finding our sovereign selves, we need to recognize what in us plays out stories. So things with limiting beliefs and things like that actually fit into the colors as well quite nicely. So I will look to start in September again to do some free ones. And September is double violet. Okay, so it's a violet month with a violet year. So what I'm going to say about September is, if you're meditating and dreaming, write the whole lot down, because you'll be able to write a book on what's coming as that information. So we go into indigo next month in August, so we will be digging a bit deeper. But in September, then it's a double violet. So Christine, yes, if you're an overall violet, you're gentle and safe with the world. It's crown energy. It's the feminine. It's the connection to the creator. It's the ability to see things from a loftier perspective. So that is what violet brings us this year, to reconnect. And I think I can definitely say I have reconnected this year, even stronger than I have before. There's definitely more connection for me. And then next year, we will all be able to make a spaceship. By the time we finish doing the webinars, I'm going to have a spaceship made so that we can all just go off and fly off elsewhere in magenta. So all enjoy your August and have fun. I would love to see any of you in September, but I'll put out there in August what I'm going to do. But I think I might start with a bit about shadow, the other side of colour, in terms of certain colours can have certain behaviours that are a little less positive, and how you can counterbalance them. Any questions, please ask me. I'm here if you'd like to ask me anything. So just unmute yourself and ask. But shall I stop? I'm going to stop recording.